2360 students, I hope everyone is doing well. I wanted to jump on here and upload a video specifically talking about parts 3 and 4 of the Inclusive Practices Fieldwork assignment. Hopefully at this point you have already completed parts 1 and 2. The reason I break it up into different sections is because I feel like this is such a large assignment or project because it is a key assessment for accreditation in our early childhood program. You need this assignment in order to pass this course, and this course is needed for graduation. So this is a very important assignment. So I thought it's easier if we break it into parts. So last video, we talked about parts 1 and 2. This video, we are focusing on parts 3 and 4. And the next video, we will talk about the last 2 parts, which is part 5 and part 6 being the intentional practice, reflective piece. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into part 3. So part 3 is really talking about that collaborative piece, right? It's fostering positive relationships and interactions with not only the parents and other professionals, but also talking about other professionals within the community. So just looking at your specific child, okay? So in the terms of early childhood education, we want to foster as many positive relationships and interactions as we can. It's really a fundamental part to the development of the well-being of the child. Now remember, this assignment is aligned with the NAEYC professional standards and competencies, right? So this section here is encompassing competency 4A in the NAEYC professional standards. This competency is 4A, okay? Competency 4A emphasizes the need for educators to engage in continuous collaborative learning to enhance their practice and effectively support the diverse needs of children. Okay, so go back to your persona, your child persona you chose. You use that child to complete parts 1 and 2 of this project. You're going to continue using that persona child to complete parts 3 and 4. So when you're looking at the child's persona, look at their unique experiences. Look at their interests, their abilities, their culture and language. All of these things are important pieces of information. We have to gain a deeper understanding of fostering positive relationships and interactions with the child, right? So with that being said, you are going to use the persona, right, and looking at their interests, the child's abilities, culture, and language to answer these questions. So you're going to respond to these 3 sections here, these 3 prompts. Remember, when there's sections in this project where you are answering questions, I want full, complete thoughts. Some of the prompts will say 1, but there might be 2 parts to that question or to that prompt, so just keep that in mind. So the first prompt says, identify and explain specific teaching strategies for building positive relationships with the child, okay? Focus on the child's strengths, challenges, and interests to help guide curriculum implementation. So these are the things that you're going to talk about. So you're going to identify those specific teaching strategies and explain how they're going to help you build positive relationships with the child. And when you're answering it, address the strengths and challenges and interests. The second prompt says, justify the selection of these strategies that you listed in number 1 and explain how they are tailored to the child's unique characteristics and needs. Okay, so what I want you to consider are the specific traits and requirements of the child and how these strategies you listed on number 1 address these aspects, and they're going to help promote child development and their learning. Now, the strategies that you listed in 1, they might be, they might include something with communications. Well, how do you communicate effectively with the child? Maybe it shows empathy and understanding. Maybe it's about creating a safe and supportive environment. Whatever it is, and these are just examples I listed, you got to think about those strategies that you chose really are connected and tailored for that specific child, your case study persona child. And then lastly, the third prompt wants you to explain how fostering a positive relationship with a child will enhance their overall learning experience and well-being, right? So what we mean by this is consider the relationship you have with the child, right? And how this impacts them in terms of their home language, their culture, their environment in the classroom and when they go home, and the curriculum you present to them. All those things are they're under that umbrella when we talk about their overall learning experience and their well-being, and how having a good positive relationship can help that child. That will really be all of part 3. Part 3 is mainly answering these prompts for your child persona. Now, part 4, is going to be where you're going to actually create something. You're going to create a play-based learning activity using responsive teaching strategies, okay? So what we want you to do is, again, look at your child persona, look at their learning needs. And what I want you to do is to create a play-based learning activity that's going to include these components, okay? It's going to have a title to your activity. So what I mean by that, okay, and you're going to use this layout, this format. And if you look at the bottom here, you're going to see a template. I want you to use this template. Remember, you have to scroll down to the bottom to find it. You're going to use this template to complete part 4 of this project. Okay, up here is where I explain each part. Okay. So in your play-based learning activity, the first one should be your activity title. So you're going to provide a descriptive title for the play-based learning activity. Then you're going to look at your child persona's age group. You're going to specify the target age group for the activity. So is it for infant toddler? Is it 3, 4, 5, 6? So what age group is it targeting? Then I want you to look at the Tennessee ELDS standards, or depending on your child's age, it could be the Tennessee state standards, right? So you may have to have those pulled up, but you're going to see what standard does my play-based learning activity fall under, and you're going to list it. Okay, so if it's Tennessee ELDS, I want you to put that and put the standard. If it's Tennessee state standard, I want you to list Tennessee state standard, and you're telling me what it is. Now, with any lesson or activity, you need to have an objective or a goal. So you're going to state what the learning objective or goal of the activity is and describe what skills or knowledge the child will develop through this play-based learning activity. Now remember, the key is play-based learning activity. We're not talking about a worksheet here, okay? Think about your child, think about their challenges, their strengths. All of that inside the persona should be taken into consideration when you're creating this play-based learning activity. The next component for your activity is going to be the materials you're needing to be able to successfully implement this activity. So list all the materials, your resources. When we talk about resources, this also would include any use of technology, right? Any interactive media, making sure that this activity is accessible. So we're ensuring accessibility, and make sure it's varied because we want to accommodate the diverse needs of that child. And then you're going to give me a description of the learning activity. So this is where you're going to be very detailed. I want a step-by-step explanation of the activity, right? So how are you going to introduce the activity? How will it be conducted? And how will you conclude it? Okay, so make sure you're highlighting the aspects of the activity and make sure it is playful and engaging. The next one is your teaching strategies, right? Think back up to part 3, where you listed some strategies, some responsive teaching strategies. Think about those when you're looking at this play-based learning activity. So what are some strategies that could be used to engage and support the child's learning and development across the routines of his or her classroom? So think about the snack. Maybe you're doing small group, work, outdoor play, circle. Remember, it's depending upon your child persona. And I want you to list and explain how you would use the differentiated instructional teaching strategies to respond to the diverse needs of your child. Now, when we say diverse needs, we're looking at strengths, the abilities, interest, home language, temperament, learning styles, all of this, okay? Now, one thing that might be helpful as well when you're doing this part of the play-based learning activity is look up UDL principles, Universal Design for Learning Principles, and NAEYC, Developing Appropriate Practice Teaching Strategies. I think that this would be something useful for you to use and to have it when you're creating or implementing these teaching strategies. It's also a good idea when you're doing a play-based learning activity that you have some way to extend it or have some extension ideas. So how could the activity be extended or modified for different interests or levels of skill? Ensuring that there are options both for support or scaffolding as well as for challenge. And as always with any activity, we have to assess. Describe how you're going to assess the child's participation, engagement, and achievement of these learning objectives to show that they've been met through this activity. Now remember, I already told you in the beginning when I was going over part 4, the play-based activity plan template that I want you to use for part 4 is at the end of this document. So you're going to have to scroll down to the bottom, and under this appendix here, you're going to see play-based activity plan template, and this is what you will use, and you will fill this part out. So one thing else I wanted to mention, remember, this key project is going to be a running document, which means that you, as I mentioned in the instructions in the first videos for part 1 and 2, this needs to be a continual long document, right? So we section it off with our parts that we're working on. So if you go to the very bottom, you will see the format and all the elements and how I want you to label within the format and how it needs to be a continual document. Okay. Well, the next video we will go over parts 5 and parts 6. So as always, if you have any questions about part 3 or 4, please feel free to reach out. Remember, continually working on this is going to help you be successful in this project. Do not wait till the last. There's no way that you can complete this in 1 to 2 weeks. This is going to take time, so that's why we're breaking these videos up. All right, until next time, guys, take care.